Bayern Munich versus Manchester City. In terms of the number of chances created, in terms of the quality of the chances produced, in terms of how the teams were set up, Bayern deserved to win. Even though the scoreline only says 1-0 to Bayern, anyone who saw the match would know that the only person standing between Bayern and City being thrashed was Joe Hart. He had a blinder. His saves kept Manchester City in the match. The difference between Bayern of last season and this season has to be how they build their attacks. Last season we saw the typical Guardiola style of just keeping the ball and draining the opposition. This season Bayern have been more willing to test the goalkeeper, and this match perhaps it backfired. As a goalkeeper, the toughest moment on a football pitch is when you are required to make a save after a very long period of time. You can easily lose focus. Comparing that to having make a save every few minutes, you are alert, feel involved in the game and grow in confidence. This match showed Joe Hart at the top of his game. He was unlucky to be beaten by a deflection in the closing stages of the match. City played Dzeko up front against the two very physically strong defenders. Perhaps Aguero may have been more of a challenge to defend against for Benashi and Boateng. Even though Manchester City had good passages of play where they had the ball, the real chances they created were on counter-attacks, and the Bayern midfield was rather lazy in tracking back. Given how the game panned out, City as a team did not do much to claim 3 points, mostly relying on Joe Hart to save them. Bayern Munich were much better as a team and deserved to win. Final score: Bayern Munich 1, Manchester City 0. Chelsea versus Schalke. A match where nearly everyone criticized the performance of Didier Drogba. I would like to disagree with every one of them. A 36-year-old striker not having much game time under his belt cannot be expected to fill in the shoes of a striker at his physical prime who is a regular starter. A few talking points in this match. Firstly, Hazard is an exceptional talent. It is just marvelous to watch him play. The way he just leaves the defenders for dead over the first few yards is just exceptional. Secondly, Fabregas is a proper Premier League player. He's exceptional when given the ball and he will control the tempo of the game. But his side of the game, where he is not afraid to get physical and throw in a few challenges, just shows how perfect a fit he is for English football. His challenge, which was a foul to be fair, put Hazard through on goal, who just laid it back to Fabregas to finish it. Class will always remain classy. Class Jan Huntelaar, no matter where he is on the pitch, he will work wonders, and his goal was clearly an example of it. He won the ball back by robbing Fabregas in midfield and had the energy to get forward in an attacking position to score. Julian Draxler is an exceptional talent, and it won't be long before he is poached away from Schalke. He allowed Schalke the chance to come back in the game and was a constant threat to Chelsea. The only real reason that Chelsea have 1 point instead of 3 is because they failed to finish the chances they created. Yes, Chelsea are good with Costa in the equation, but what happens when he is injured or is not performing at the same level? The chances were always there, but perhaps luck was not on Chelsea's side. Final score: Chelsea 1, Schalke 1. Borussia Dortmund versus Arsenal. There are some good sides in the world of football who don't depend on one style of play. If plan A doesn't work, they always have a backup plan B. Then days come where even the backup plan B doesn't work. Those are the days you should know as a team you are screwed. Unfortunately for Arsenal, this day came on the most unfavourable occasion. Arsenal plan A: keep possession and pass the ball around. Arsenal plan B: find the speedy players Sanchez and Welbeck and wait for them to run the defences. But the fundamental requirement to implement both these plans is to have the ball. That's where Arsenal failed. Any attacks or chances which were created throughout this match, note that none of them had a lot of passes involved, but rather the player on the ball ran at the defence. Dribblers controlled the game. Neither Dortmund nor Arsenal have the best defence. And when they had the attacking player running towards the defence fell back instead of pressurizing the player on the ball. The only difference was the Dortmund players are much better at running with the ball at the feet than the Arsenal players. The best dribbler Arsenal have is Sanchez, and there were occasions in this match where he failed to keep the ball in control. To sum it all up, the Dortmund defence was vulnerable and Arsenal showed that with a few attacks, but due to the lack of quality finishing amongst the Arsenal frontmen, they failed to capitalise on it. The Arsenal defence should have taken command in one-on-one situations, but instead they allowed Dortmund pacemen to run at them. The gaps were there, the chances should have been taken, and Arsenal should have done better. They have no one but themselves to blame. Final score: Borussia Dortmund 2, Arsenal 0. Liverpool vs Ludogorets. Liverpool's performance against Aston Villa at the weekend was shocking, but a player whose absence was dearly felt, Sterling, returned to the starting lineup. Little was known about Ludogorets, the Bulgarian champions, and when a team such as them enters a high-profile match with so little to lose, you can expect some great football. It has to be said, given how Ludogorets performed in this match, they looked Liverpool right in the eye and said, "Look, anything you can do, we can do equally good, if not better." As most of you people, when I sat down to watch the match, the most I expected for Ludogorets was to capitalise on any Liverpool defensive error and have at most 1 or 2 chances, and tipped Liverpool just to cruise by. Liverpool showed how gifted the players in the starting lineup were, but these players, including the likes of Balotelli, Gerrard and Sterling, on that day weren't able to produce their best. Yeah, there were a few quick, impressive passing moves, but it didn't just work as well as Liverpool would have hoped. Ludogorets, on the other hand, had a more direct approach. Defenders would win their team the ball back, the midfielders would find the right pass and unleash the winning strikers ready to run into any gaps. Ludogorets did hit Liverpool on the counter on many occasions, and some of these sweeping moves were quite exceptional. Liverpool were just exposed on the counter. I don't remember the Liverpool defence being in charge when defending a counter, and they mostly relied on the Bulgarian champions to make a mistake. But something had to give. A move similar to the rest of the Liverpool attacks. Mourinho crossed the ball into the box. Balotelli this time was able to control it and poked it home. Liverpool stick to this style of play and scored. Returning the favour, Ludogorets scored with their style. The defender robs Sterling of the ball, passes it to the midfielder. The midfielder feeds the striker, and Mignolet was caught in no man's land. A true pass move led to their goal. A simple, direct attack. And then on the other end, the Ludogorets goalkeeper makes a mess of a simple back pass in the 91st minute and fouls the on-rushing Liverpool player Moreno to sink his side. Steven Gerrard converts the penalty to seal 3 points. Liverpool got lucky there, and a draw would have been just as well served. Final score: Liverpool 2, Ludogorets 1. That's it for this week's Champions League episode. Are you happy with how your team performed and the results they got? Comment below and let me know. Subscribe to keep updated with the performances of all the teams in our favourite football league in the world.